So next we have our spotlight presentation. And if you remember at the last meeting, we always learn a lot from all the different presentations, but we were interested in learning a little bit more about ESD's reach beyond the state of New York. And so we have a global New York division. And with us today is Lennox Ruiz, our VP of Global New York, and Molly Bauer, our Deputy Director of Global New York. And they're going to share a little about what they do. And we're excited to hear.
Thank you, Chairman Law and Board of Directors. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to present our Global New York division today. Yes, indeed, you can think of us as the most internationally facing group within ESD. Our mission primarily is to assist New York State small and medium-sized businesses to export their products globally. Today we'll do a duet, if you will, of my colleague Molly Bauer, who will present what we do and how we do it. But I will begin by giving you who we are and why we do what we do. We work closely internally with the Small Business Division. I see our colleagues here today. We operationally report up the chain to Jeff Januszewski, who is the Senior Vice President. Internally, we work closely with the regional offices, the MWB, Small Business Division, NYSTAR, Public Affairs, Marketing. Locally, we work very closely with the Chambers of Commerce, industry associations, and marketing extension partnerships. Statewide, we work closely with the Small Business Development Centers and the District Export Councils. And federally, we work very closely with the U.S. Department of Commerce, the Small Business Administration, and the Import-Export Bank. And you'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. Our team comprises, in addition to myself, 12 professionals based here in New York City and across the state. Lauren Quilley handles our STEP program along with Ms. Fuller Shade. Bianca Kobos is our administrative assistant. Brian Tubner handles the Global New York Grant Program. And of course, you see Molly and myself there administratively covering the division. Next slide, please. Regionally, our staff comprises covering all 10 regions of the state. Loretta Bean covering Long Island. Neil Nayak covers the Mid-Hudson and Southern Tier. Catherine Vanberger covers the North Country, Mohawk Valley, and regional and the Capital District. And Carrie Baker Scott covers the Finger Lakes region and Central New York. Mosa Mbundu covers the Western New York region along with R.J. Ball. So why do we do what we do? Looking out towards the world, even at our 340 million plus population, we're still less than 5% of the world's population. It means that 95% of the world's population lives outside the United States, and with that we know over 75% of the world's purchasing power is outside the US. Trade represents approximately 56% of the world's $111 trillion economy as of 2024. And we do know that exporting companies grow much faster than non-exporting companies, specifically estimated about 24% greater in growth, and that translates into job creation and employee earnings. And even with those stats, would you believe that less than 1% of our small businesses export their products and services today? So with this information and the opportunities to help our small and medium-sized businesses, we look out towards the world, looking at the areas that present the greatest potential for small and medium-sized businesses to export their products, and where there may be opportunities for future growth. We have established today 15 locations across the globe, really covering the entire globe, if you will. As you see here, starting in our region, Canada, the Caribbean, Mexico, South America, we have inset here with satellite operations in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Peru. And across the pond, the UK, Israel, the Middle East, India, South Africa, that's our beachhead into the African continent, and of course Australia and China. And in the rest of Asia, we cover Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, and South Korea. So it's a wide berth. We cover the entire globe. And in terms of what we do specifically, I'll be turning.
Can I
Sorry.
just ask a question?
Yes.
So, yeah, on that side. Does ESD actually have official offices in all these countries? Or are they all consultants and contractors?
These are contractors. These are contractors. We don't have official brick and mortar, if you will, established abroad. And it's the most efficient way for us to conduct business in terms of working with small and medium-sized
And
businesses.
all those consultants and contractors, they report to you?
Yes, they report through us here at ESD. And they complement the work of our domestic staff as presented earlier.
And what type of consultants are they? They're not like a McKinsey type. Are they more like chambers, or are they associations, or?
Our consultants are through OCO Global. They're a trade, export, and foreign direct investment firms. So they focus specifically on international trade and foreign direct investment. They don't do any other kind of consulting, like a McKinsey or a Deloitte or anyone else. They're very much just trade only.
So we don't have any ESD employees outside of New York?
No ESD employees outside New York, and these folks are dedicated to us
Got it.
in the pursuit of our
Thanks.
effort to export.
Thanks.
So at this point, we'll turn to our programs, specifically giving you a sense of our Export Marketing Assistance Service, the State Trade Expansion Program, and the Global New York Fund. At this time, I'll turn over to my colleague, Molly Bauer, to describe each of them.
Thank you, Lennox, and thank you, Board, and go Bills. I hear there's a Bills fan or two here to celebrate the win. So our programs, we have 2 funding programs that have financial resources, and then 1 program that is strictly programmatic. That would be our EMAS program, the Export Marketing Assistance Service. This is directly connected to the 15 international offices. So those 15 offices cover a total of 187 countries. We're New York qualified companies. And so to be a New York qualified company, you have to be headquartered in New York. Your incorporation can be anywhere. People can still incorporate in Delaware, but you have to be physically headquartered in New York, have under 500 employees, and then 51% of the value add of your product or service has to be created or made in New York. So while we love our friends in the other states and other countries, if you're manufacturing wholly elsewhere, then you're not eligible for our programs. This is really for New York manufacturers and New York service providers.
And you have to have less than 500 employees?
Correct. And so with this, companies get from October 1st to the end of September every single year the opportunity to select 3 foreign countries to get a custom market entry report to. This report will give a SWOT analysis. It'll give you customized research on if you're already in the market, how you can best expand. If you're new to the market, what your best routes of entry are. And then the really unique part is we give lists of potential buyers and distributors who companies can actually connect with to then sell into that market. And it's all a no-cost service. And so companies can select up to 3 in a period. They work directly with our foreign offices. We vet them internally with the internal staff, and then we connect them with the country of their choice so they can work on entering or expanding into that market. And we've had record numbers for this year. So last year was our first year with our new system where we had a full service and had our 15 offices. Prior to that, we only had 7. The year before, we did our new round. So in 2024, we had 147 applications to our EMAS program. This past year that just ended in this September, we had over 470, which was a 170% increase in people who have used this EMAS service. So record-breaking numbers for Global New York. STEP is one of our main funding programs. This is funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, so the government shutdown has affected it. We are currently working with the Small Business Administration to get any outstanding funds, and we're also waiting to find out if we will be getting another round of funding. They did announce a STEP 13, but obviously the shutdown of the government earlier in the year kept them from announcing the awards and what states would get. So we're still a bit in limbo for this. But it is a great program that does still have some funding, and companies that are New York companies, but they can manufacture anywhere in the US, not just in New York, since it is a federal government program, can get up to $10,000 a year through 50% reimbursement on eligible items such as exhibiting at a trade show, not just walking the floor, getting a custom international marketing program, having someone build an international website for you so you can have a website actually hosted in Japan or in India rather than it being a .com, which makes it easier for people to buy and sell. And many other different things can be used as long as it's for export purposes. So if you need to get a CE mark, which is kind of like an approval mark in Europe, you can use this to help fund lawyer fees and things like that to get those marks. So it's really effective in helping companies offset some of their costs to export. We then have a larger fund that'll do all those same things, but you can get up to $25,000 twice a year for a maximum of $50,000. But for this one, you do have to meet that New York State 51% requirement because it is a New York funded program. And it's a really great way for people who are going to trade shows. And these trade shows do have to be international, or if they are domestic, a large portion of the people attending the show have to be from an international market because it is all about selling externally rather than domestically.
So some companies can get up to $60,000 a year?
Yes. You just can't double dip. So if you're going to one trade show or you're doing one thing through Global New York, you have to do a separate activity under STEP. We do every other year a road show where we bring all of our international offices. Kevin, you joined us 2 years ago in Long Island to kick off when we did it in 2023. We did it again this past September. It was the first time we went to every single region of the state from September 3rd to September 11th, and it gave New York companies the abilities to sit down and talk with our international representatives about how their business fits into the market that these offices represent. We had over 450 individuals come across the 10 stops. 150 new companies attended, which is astronomical when you think about that the year prior to doing this, we only had 147 people apply for our main program. We had a 29% increase in attendance from when we did this in 2023, and over 850 meetings were had between companies and our international offices, which was a 160% increase from the previous year. One other thing we do is we go on trade missions using STEP to help offset the cost of trade missions, the travel for companies. We take companies all over the world. Our most recent ones in March of 2024, we went to Australia with 7 New York companies that had 50 meetings between Sydney and Melbourne. We went to South America. Lennox and I took 9 companies to Brazil, Chile, and Argentina, where they had over 180 meetings. We just partnered with our gaming division, Patricia Bailey, and took a group of 12 companies to the Tokyo Game Show in Japan, and they had over 100 meetings. It was the first time we've opened up our programs to game developers because they're not necessarily in the normal stage of exporting, and it was a really successful event. And then Commissioner Knight led a trade mission to Canada this past October where 8 companies joined between Toronto and Montreal, and we had 30 B2B meetings during that time. And at all of these, companies are signing purchase orders or entering into deals. We had someone who recently just reported an $800,000 sale from joining us in Brazil, Chile, and Argentina. And that company is based in the Mid-Hudson. So these things do work, and we're really excited to be able to take companies. And so we have some very exciting upcoming missions as well. In a month, we're taking companies to Mexico City and Monterrey. We have 8 companies that are signed up and ready to go. Our premier trade show that we do every year is Arab Health, now World Health Dubai in the UAE in February, where we buy a booth and then have companies get miniature booth space inside a New York pavilion. We're going to go to India in March We'll go to Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam. It'll be our first trip to the ASEAN region ever for Global New York. That'll be May 2026. And then the governor announced earlier this year that we will be doing a trade mission to the Dominican Republic and Jamaica, which we're also excited about. It'll be our first time going to the Dominican Republic.
In terms of prior trade shows, how do we benchmark, the success of them? Do new orders, new jobs created, and because there's always, we get audited by the controller, we get questioned by legislators all the time. So how do we know that these missions are worthwhile and we measure success?
So both the EMAS program, which we use on any trade mission, we use the EMAS program to connect companies with the international market. So they have to then give us an impact report on that, which records projected sales for 6, 12, 18 months out, because they are long-term relationships. Very rarely do you go and sign and have something materialize. So we follow up with them at the 6-month mark, the 12-month mark, and the 18th-month mark. And the same for STEP as well. We get an impact report on that. And then Loans and Grants gets an impact report for the Global New York Grant Fund. So we track sales. We do ask if job creation does happen, but job creation is usually a more long-term thing to track than the sales are.
It's mostly sales.
Yes.
Got it. I'm glad to hear it too.
And we had, when Commissioner Knight went on the trade mission to Taiwan and Japan last April, a company got $30 million from going on that trade mission with us, an investment fund, which then led them to open a larger facility here in New York and do some job creation. So $30 million, in funding for a company, that's larger than you can expect. So that was a really great return on investment.
Right.
And if anyone has any questions, Lennox and I are very happy to answer.
Good. I have one more. I'm sorry, I'm hogging the floor. But, so I suspect the 500 employee threshold is because larger companies presumably have their own resources and we're trying to help smaller businesses, and we're defining small businesses under 500. But I'm sure we have some large employers in New York State that do a lot of exporting. And do we have any programs to assist them to make sure that they remain strong and large and successful?
So we have wiggle room on EMAS and on the Global New York Grant Fund because they are not statutory. So in a case where a larger company did come to us, we do have the ability to say, yes, we can help you. We just try to mostly keep it for smaller. When it comes to STEP, since that is a federally funded program, that is a hard and fast 500, but on the other sides, we do have wiggle room.
Got it. Great. Yeah. Anybody else have questions? No?
Yeah, do you have an office in Puerto Rico?
No, so Puerto Rico is technically part of the U.S., so it would not be viewed as
Okay.
international trade. But we do, work with Betty Enriquez when she does have companies that she would like to connect. We do work with her.
Okay, thank you.
This is the one exception to when you said no staff outside New York, no staff outside the United States. We do have a small office in Puerto Rico that we work with.
All right.
That just celebrated its 10-year anniversary a couple months ago.
And they're ESD
Those
employees?
are ESD employees,
Yes.
unlike the contractors that the Global New York team works with.
But they aren't part of Global New York or trade.
Okay.
Got it. Got
That
it.
office acts to help support business as well as tourism.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah. Anybody else? Well, Lennox and Molly, that was terrific and very educational and informative, and we thank you for coming by and sharing.
Thank you.